Tip Tuesday with Applied Behavior Solutions. My name is Robin. I am a co-founder and director of AV Solutions. For those of us who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And I just want to give you a brief background of what we do. We work with children who have a variety of specialized and unique support needs. We provide one-on-one ABA services based on a program that is specifically designed for your child. We specialize in childhood development and behavior analytics services, including reducing challenging behaviors, reaching developmental milestones, acquiring foundational academic skills, and facilitation and school readiness support. We believe in supporting the community, the parents and professionals working with children. So every Tuesday we release a short, informative episode loaded with quick tips designed to get you in and give you information that you can actually start using today. The children that we work with have very specialized needs, and many of them have sensory processing disorders and difficulties. This is a condition in which the brain has trouble receiving and responding to information that comes in through the senses. Some children you'll find are oversensitive to things that are going on around them. So, for example, sounds that are completely normal for us to hear, like people talking or cars passing in the background, maybe the dog barking. Like for us, those are quite normal, and we are able to process them and put them into the background, identify that that's background noise and something that we don't need to attend to. This can be painful and overwhelming for children with sensory processing difficulties. You might find that your kid is tearing their clothing because maybe the label is chafing their skin, or there's a stitch in their seam that is excruciating and unbearable. Other children are undersensitive and they fail to respond to sensory input that they receive. So, for example, they may not react to extreme heat, extreme cold, or even pain. If your child is uncoordinated, they bump into things regularly, unable to have a firm grasp of where their limbs are in space. It's difficult to engage with them during conversations or play, and they react adversely to change, then they may have a sensory processing issue, and you may want to bring this up with your practitioner. I'm going to be listing more examples as we go, so make sure to listen out for them. It's not currently recognized as a standalone disorder, and it's often seen in developmental conditions like autism. It's interesting to know that many experts disagree with this and believe that it should change so that it is recognized as its own disorder. All right, so while we're talking today, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the comment section and I'll answer them while we're live. Alternatively, if you're joining us after we're live, just still pop a question into our comment section and I'll get back to you. All right, so let's talk more about sensory processing and sensory input. Do you ever catch yourself fidgeting while you're talking? Maybe you pick at your nails or you play with your hair. For me, I know when I'm nervous or if I'm talking to a group of people, I tend to play with my ring. It goes on and off, and I talk a lot with my hands as well. Half the time, I'm not even aware that I'm doing it, but I am aware enough to make the necessary changes in my behavior so that it's not distracting for other people. So often, like, I will take this off and I'll put it away when I'm doing these videos, or I'll angle the video so that you can't see my hands so much. When I'm talking to people, I'm able to, not all the time, but sometimes I remember to put my hands in my pockets so that it's not distracting to the other person. I want you to take a second to think about what your fidget is. What sensory input do you give yourself throughout the day to make you more alert or perhaps less overwhelmed. If you feel comfortable, share a comment about what your fidget is. And yeah, so have a think about that. What I want you to think about next is how you would navigate your day if you were not able to do these things. So think about how many of us were limited in terms of the amount of activity we were able to do during level 4 and level 5 of lockdown. I'd like you to remember how you felt when your daily sensory stimulation needs were impacted. So we weren't able to see as many people as we were seeing. Everything around us went super quiet. There were no planes flying above us. There were no cars around. It was very quiet. I know a lot of my steps and a lot of our steps come in from walking around in the shops, walking from your car to your office, walking around your office. And so a lot of our activity needs were not met. We weren't able to see our friends and our family. We weren't able to give the people that we love hugs, like those kind of things that we weren't able to do. And maybe in the beginning it wasn't as noticeable, but after an extended period of time, I know that it impacted a lot of people. Now, for children who have sensory processing difficulties, the need for sensory input and the inability to satisfy these needs are even more intense. When they're not given the input that they need, they struggle with demonstrating appropriate behavior or remaining alert and focused. Also, being able to keep themselves organized and in control. What I would like you to get from this episode is an idea of different types of sensory input that you can give your child as part of a sensory diet in an effort to help them remain regulated and in control. All right, so what is a sensory diet? A sensory diet is a program of sensory activities that kids can follow during their day to ensure that they're getting the input that their bodies need. So, as a behavior analyst, I place sensory diets into many of my kiddos' programs. It's always designed specifically for each client, and it's always based on an assessment of their sensory needs. So occupational therapists are also able to create sensory diets for children. The aim of a sensory diet is to create experiences that stimulate the various sensory systems of our bodies. So let's have a look at what those sensory systems are. Okay, so the first sensory system is proprioceptive. This is one of our movement sensors, and it contributes towards our coordination and our body awareness. Right, so this is for kids who seek out rough play, such as jumping, crashing into things. And some ideas that you can try at home is playing games that involve a lot of stomping, a lot of jumping. You can give your child a lot of deep pressure, so back pats, you can give them massages, not only around their neck area, but you can do like massages on their arms, on their legs, on their chest, anywhere on their back, pats, like pulling very gently though with kids around the joint area specifically. But this deep pressure, maybe like a weighted blanket, this deep pressure really helps. Another good thing for this is working against resistance. So give your kid like a little wheelbarrow and fill it up, get them to fill it up with things along the way, and they're having to pull that. You can get those elastic exercise bands, put it around their waist, and you hold it and they have to try and pull. You could play tug of war, get them to do like standing push-ups against the wall. Right, the second sensory system is vestibular. So this is our other movement sense, and it relates to our balance and how we perceive our body's position in space. So this is for those kiddos who seek constant movement. and they struggle to keep still. Where on the opposite side, other kids may seem lethargic and sluggish in their responses. Some ideas that you can try at home for this is swinging, rocking. I don't know if I haven't seen it around often, but if you have a rocking horse, rocking chairs, those are really good. Swaying, just like holding your kid and like swaying with them. You can do this through dancing or a fun game. You could try bouncing with them. You can use those OT balls or the yoga balls and bounce up and down on those. Doing yoga positions is really good. And also hanging upside down. So, like if your kid is on the couch upside down, that hanging feeling is really, really good. Also from play sets outside. A really cool one is a scooter board. It's like a flat board that's got little wheels on the bottom that your kid can lie on and move around with. If they lie on their stomach on the board and move around like that, it's really good for them. Right, sensory system number 3 is tactile, which is the sense of touch. This is for kids who fidget constantly and who always seem to be touching other people. Some ideas that you can try at home is having fidget toys available, having tactile sensory boxes. So by these boxes, you're able to make them for yourself at home. Take an old shoebox and put anything that has tactile properties. So having different textured items in this box, or things that they can break apart or put together. You could make your own DIY sensory walls. So get a piece of a board or even just on a wall, stick down different textures. So you could have something that's a bit spiky, and then next to it something that's very smooth. Next to it something that's furry. Something hard, something soft, something that crackles, something that that pokes out at them. Having these different textures and being able to go from one to the other is very good. Deep pressure is also good for tactile. All right, so the fourth one is auditory. So this is experiences that refer to sound. This is for those kids who hum a lot, who yell and scream. They're always making noise, either with their mouth or with objects. So nice things to do at home for these kiddos is getting them to listen to their music or audio books using their headphones. You can get them to play with toys that naturally make noise. And also a really cool one for this is get your kids involved and interested in musical instruments. It's more appropriate and it's often a lot of fun. Get them a little drum set or the piano or anything that they can make noise using that instrument. Right, the fifth one is visual. So this is for kids who look very closely at objects. They may seek out moving or bright objects, and they may also have difficulty focusing on visually presented information. Right, so what you could try is playing with torches and lasers at home. You could give your kids a lot of toys that have lighting abilities, so light up toys. You could give them toys that have moving parts, so like a jack in the box that opens, or anything that pulls out or moves, is like cars that they can drive and move around. Kaleidoscopes are very good, as well as Viewmasters. So I remember having one of these as a kid. It was it almost looks like a camera, and every time you clicked it, it moved onto a different scene that you would then see through this Viewmaster. Another nice one that is easy to make at home is bottles with different objects inside of them. So you can fill a bottle up with water, and put some glitter in it. And as you move it, it's very good to look at. You can put little objects in there. You can put anything in it that your kid will then be able to see and track. Right, so the sixth and the last of the sensory systems is olfactory and oral. This is how we process smell and taste. So this is for those kiddos who lick or smell objects before engaging with them. They may also mouth objects by putting it into their mouth to suck on, to chew, and sometimes even swallowing. What you could try at home is having a smell box. So again, like the other boxes we were talking about, you just take a shoe box and put a whole bunch of things with different smells in it so that they can take it and smell it. Oh, this smells like lemon. This is a lavender smell. Oh, this is which, and have a whole bunch of different smells that they can engage with in this box. Knowing that that box is available to them and it's in the same place all the time is really helpful as an appropriate alternative. You could give your kids chewy toys. I know a lot of them are available at chemists or in kids' stores. You get ones that are necklaces that can be worn around the neck. Now, this is obviously for kids who struggle with it a little bit more. It is still more appropriate to chew something that's meant for chewing than to seek out something different. Chewing gum is a good one if you know that your kid isn't going to swallow it or place it in undesired places. So if your kiddo's good at knowing when to take it out and throw it in the bin, then great. You could, just like the smell box, you could have a chewy box. So things that provide them like good textures in their mouth. So they could, you could have like pistachio nuts in there that they need to crack open and then chew. You can have biltong. Biltong is a great one for kids who need that extra input for their jaws and that chew a lot. Anything that they can chew on should be placed into this box. You can use fun things like scented markers, like as they're drawing, it smells great. And also the use of essential oils is really good. Alright, so while you may be able to put some of these together at home, it is extremely important to seek professional guidance on which types of activities will be best for your child, especially when the processing issue is severe and coupled with comorbid disorders such as ADHD or autism. You please feel free to contact us. You can call us, you can email us if you feel like you need more support with us. All right, so that's us done for today. If you found this talk helpful, please take a quick minute to like and comment, and also share it with people who you think will also benefit from it. Tune in next week for another episode of Our Quick Tip Tuesdays, and don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram to watch this and other episodes, and also other useful resources. All right, everybody, I hope you keep safe and keep warm. It's getting cold out there. Goodbye.